Hey, welcome back to this mini lecture. This one is called Editing Survey Questions. So you have some preliminary survey questions that you've thought about that relate to your research. Now as a way to, this will help you look at them and edit them on your own to hopefully make them even better than they normally are. I have 10 different steps. I'll try to get through them quickly. I know that you're busy. Number one, ensure every question is necessary. You do not want to have any superfluous questions that are not useful. Make sure that every question you have should obtain important insights. Identify data you must collect and write your questions. You want to make sure that you do not have any questions that are just, for some reason, not related to what you want to get out of your study. Number two, keep your survey and your questions short and simple. Respondents are busy people like you and I, and they are less likely to complete surveys that are long or bounce from topic to topic. Therefore, from this, make sure that your survey should take a reasonable amount of time, as little as possible, to complete, and that it follows a logical order so that someone who's reading it gets in a flow, they understand the questions you're asking, they can do it quickly, and they all make sense. And all the questions lead to one another in a sensible way. Number three, ask direct questions. If you have any vague or poorly worded questions, they can either confuse your respondents and or make your data less useful. I'm sure you've heard the old saying, garbage in, garbage out. Bad questions, bad answers. Use clear language to make questions easy to answer. You want people to, again, they're busy, they don't want to get frustrated, they're doing you a favor. You want to have clear language that helps them understand what you're asking so that they can respond quickly and easily. Number four, ask one question at a time. They often call this a double-barreled question. If it's asking two questions, you do not want to have double-barreled questions. So to have a good question, the one that asks one question at a time, look at your questions and see if they contain the word and. If it has the word and, it will show that your question may have two parts. And here's an example. Say, pretend that you're doing a survey about phone, the quality of a phone. The question might be, for your respondent, the question might be, which phone has the best customer support and reliability? So when the respondent reads that, they may feel that one phone is more reliable, or they may feel that one has better customer support. As a result, depending on which of those two they think is more important, they may answer your question in a way that's not fully indicative of the totality of your question. So again, make sure it only has one question at a time. Number five, avoid leading and biased questions. You'll often have descriptive words in your questions. If they're descriptive in a not careful way, they may bias the question and point your respondents in the direction of an answer that you prefer. Therefore, when you're looking at your questions before you finalize them, review or remove any adjectives or adverbs in your questions to make sure that your question is as streamlined, unbiased as possible. Along that lines, oftentimes you'll have a thing like a Likert scale. It's a scale of like strongly agree, neutral, disagree, strongly disagree, like a 5-point Likert scale. Unbalanced scales can lead respondents, and they're kind of function in the same kind of way as badly worded questions. You want to make sure that your scales have a midpoint, so there are odd number of possible responses, like the one I gave you. There was like a neutral response in the middle, and you want to make sure they cover the whole range of possible responses to the questions. You do not want to have someone going, oh, this is my answer, but it's not here on the possible, it's on the question. So make sure that you give every possible response that any respondent may have. Number six, speak your respondent's language. Try to intuit what her or him, the way that they understand language, the language they use in their day-to-day life, so they are not puzzled or confused by your questions. Use language respondents will understand. Make words and sentences as simple as possible. They cannot be too simple. Try to avoid any technical language that a common person might not know. However, again, make this as simple as you can. but do not oversimplify your questions to a point where it actually changes the interpretation of what you're trying to get across. Number 7, use response scales as, if possible. Response scales, they can give the direction and intensity of attitudes, and this gives rich data. Finding attitudes really helps. Again, like a strongly agree, neutral, disagree, strongly disagree. It helps you, if you have a collection of those responses, it can give a really strong survey. In contrast, categorical or binary response options produce less informative data. For example, if you can at all, try to avoid true or false or yes/no response options. They are usually less informative. Avoid scales asking respondents to agree or disagree with statements, similar to true, false, yes or no. Some people are just, depending on the way they think and process the world, some people are biased to agree with statements. As a result, they can result in invalid and unreliable data, which is what you do not want. You want valid and reliable data. We're getting close, friends. Number 8. Avoid grids or matrices for responses. Respondents do not fill in grids accurately along their true feelings, so try to avoid them. Also, if they're going to be, in our increasingly phone-friendly world, grids are not mobile-friendly. You might want to separate your questions with grid responses into multiple questions with regular response scales. So again, going back, try to use response scales like a Likert scale as often as you can. Again, avoid grids or matrices for responses. Number 9, rephrase yes or no questions. Again, similar to what we just spoke about. Yes/no questions should be reworked and reworded if possible. Instead of asking yes/no, maybe start your question with how much, how often, or how likely. Try to make these changes if you can whenever possible. Include a response scale for richer data. Again, response scales are good. Binary yes/no options, not so good. Finally, and might be the most important, test drive your survey. Ideally, you're a member of the population or sample that's going to be answering your survey, so you know exactly the same things, as you have the same language, same thoughts, same education as your respondents. That might not be the case. So you want to ask at least 5 people to test your survey to help give you feedback on the questions you came up with, their order, their wording. This will almost invariably catch and correct problems before distribution. It's better to have problems and identify them and edit them before you distribute your survey than after, because that will make a whole mess of problems for you. So there you go. That was editing survey questions. It was great to have you here. Have a great day.